Welcome to another GTN show.
Yeah, on this week's show, we are discussing your skin and how to look after it in a triathlon race.
Yeah, we also discuss who's in and potentially out of the Ironman World Championships, plus all the pro race results and your transition photos.
All right, let's crack on with the show. Okay, we're going to start things off with reacts, things we've spotted online over the last week. And this one caught my eye from ultra runner Damien Hall. Now, he's put up this post saying a small group of ultra runners have launched a new initiative, Into Ultra. And the idea is to reduce barriers to participation in ultra running. And the scheme provides financial assistance to those who would otherwise be unable to afford it. And I just think it's a really nice, simple thing you've got to apply if you want to receive this funding. And they are going to be helping people who maybe couldn't otherwise go along to some of these races, if it's with the travel, with the entry, etc. And something that triathlon could learn from. We think it's time to check back in with Sean Conway on his Iron 102, his bid to do 102 Ironman distance triathlons in 102 days. And, well, at the time of this post, he was on day 70. At the time you're watching this, he will be on day 73. And sounds like he's gone through a bit of a blip and he's back on a slightly more of a high, but his neck and hip and things are starting to hurt. Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, funny that. I'm amazed. It's absolutely incredible when you think about what he's doing. But yeah, he's looking a little bit worse for wear. But then, to be fair, he did have that beard when he started, so it's not. He's just looking that scraggly just because the Iron 102. But yeah, he's, 29 more days to go.
God, end is in sight.
Yeah.
Just another month.
We have been planning to go and meet him on one of these days, and at this point it's looking like it's going to be one of the last days.
We're running out of time, yeah. So busy, yeah.
We will get there at some point.
Well, this post from Camworth just made me smile. I think it's great to see a pro really celebrating being on the podium at an Ironman. So he's just finished Ironman Austria, finished second, and it's not so much about the actual result of where he finished, but more the fact that he has now qualified for the World Champs. And in his words here, he said, "I failed both in South Africa and Lanzarote, and I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I had nightmares about not making the grade. Fortunately today, I managed to do enough to earn my start position in Nice in September. I've now got 3 months to sharpen the tools and get ready to face the best in Ironman triathlon. I'm feeling pretty chipper, I must say. I love it."
Yeah. Well done, Tim. I actually qualified for my first Kona in Austria, and I came second to get it. Yeah.
Oh.
That was a long time ago, though. A very long time ago. Speaking about Nice, though, Cam's in, but there was a couple of people who might be out. Rudy van Berg is one of them. I don't know if you missed this a couple of weeks ago. We actually met him out in Nice when we were doing a bit of a course preview video, and he kindly joined our video for a little bit. And then the following day, he was hit by a car, and he's broken a finger and his collarbone, and he's had surgery on that collarbone. So yeah, not sure how long it's going to be before he's back, and probably going to take him out of those Ironman World Championships in Nice, which is basically his home World Championships. He lives within half an hour of the actual course. So yeah, very frustrating for him. He did put an update on just a couple days ago. He said, "Some news from me. I got surgery on my collarbone quickly, 48 hours after the crash, and it's now been 10 days. I have a broken finger." He hasn't done anything for the first week. The last few days he started to spin again a little, but he's still feeling very tired and very beat up. So yeah, unfortunately, I think that might be Rudy van Berg out of Nice. And then there's another big name who also potentially might be out of Nice, and that is Alistair Brownlee. If you missed the news, he was on the start list for Ironman Austria and Ironman France, and he's decided he's not doing either of those. His training has just not gone well enough. Which leaves him very few options now to qualify for the Ironman World Champs in Nice. Basically, he's got Ironman Switzerland, I think on the 16th of July, and Ironman Lake Placid on the 23rd of July, and then it's the qualification cutoff, and he can't get into those World Championships in Nice in September. So it looks like pretty unlikely that Alistair's going to be towing that line.
I mean, we don't know why he's pulling out. You have to kind of imagine it's because of an injury. So fingers crossed he can sort that out and get run fit enough. But so we'd all love to see him, as he's obviously been very successful at the 70.3 Worlds when they were there. And just to clarify, when we're talking about Nice, we're talking about the upcoming Ironman France in Nice, and then obviously the World Championships being in Nice can get a bit confusing, can't it?
It is quite confusing, yeah. This weekend there's Ironman in Nice, which is a men's only event. And then in September there's Ironman World Championships in Nice, which is also a men's only event. It's a bit of a confusing year.
On to Tri News now, and this weekend we are going to see the first Olympic eSport trophies handed out. Yes, the Olympic eSport series is coming to Singapore this weekend, and we are going to see live racing on Zwift. So we're going to see 4 teams consisting of 4 riders battling it out for this eSports trophy, not medals.
Yeah, trophies. The teams are 2 men and 2 women from 11 different countries, and they'll race over 3 men's races and 3 women's races on the Zwift Scotland map, which you may be familiar with if you watched GCN, GMBN and GTN go head-to-head at the beginning of the year in our eSports Championship, or more likely watched the actual UCI eSport Championships, which was on Eurosport. Either way, you may be familiar with it because that's where they're going to host it, although it has been hosted in Singapore, but it's on Zwift's Scotland map. Not confusing at all.
Slightly different climate.
Yeah, different climate, not Scotland climate in Singapore. It'll be interesting. Anyway, it's an interesting concept and clearly a bit of a test for the IOC and the Olympic Games potential for something like Zwift. Of course, as Heather says, no Olympic gold medals for this one, but you can watch it live streamed on the Olympics.com website if you are interested in that. And yeah, who knows where this might go in the future. Paris?
Yeah. Well,
Los Angeles?
I think they are looking for LA, but if you do have a look on the website, there's lots of other sports that are taking part in this as well. No swimming and running just yet, but I know that...
Chess?
There is chess, there's taekwondo, tennis, shooting, it's probably safer online. Anyway, the list goes on, so keep an eye out for that one.
Okay, some more triathlon news, and Super League has announced its 5th anniversary championships. That is the Super League, which is the fast and exciting super short course triathlon that happens every year, and it is now on its 5th anniversary. Last year watched by 51 million people, if you can believe that number. Quite impressive. And this year promises to be more thrills and spills on the unpredictable backwards triathlons and enduro triathlons and all the other formats that they throw at the athletes. It is very fun and exciting to watch, and this year in London, Toulouse, Malibu and Neom for the championship.
Yeah, it's crazy that it is its 5th year. It doesn't feel like it's been around that long, but it's definitely revolutionising triathlon. Well, they've already got some of the top names confirmed to be competing. The 3/4 of the gold-winning relay team from Tokyo, the Great Britain athletes, Alex Yee, Jonathan Brownlee and Georgia Taylor-Brown are all confirmed. We've also got Beth Potter and Cassandra Beaugrand, who've proven they're very good at the Arena Games format as well as this format. Katie Severas is coming back after giving birth, and she's confirmed to be racing. On the women's side, also Fanny Saleh, who you might recognise the name, 15-year-old who sort of leapt onto the scene in the Arena Games. So we're going to be interesting to see how she fares in the real outdoor world. On the men's side, we've also got Hayden Wild, who's the defending champion, Vincent Louis, Henry Schumann. It's a pretty packed list. Yeah,
you name it. Apparently the teams format will be refreshed this year, although more details about that are still to be announced. Those dates, if you are wondering, they are August 27th in London in the UK, September 3rd in Toulouse, France, September 30th in Malibu, USA, and then that final in Neom in Saudi Arabia on October 21st. Yeah, and we'll definitely be tuning in, and you should too.
And now on to the main topic that we want to chat about today. How do triathletes protect their skin? Now, we obviously love being outdoors. That kind of comes with the sport. And in sunny environments, that's kind of the appeal. It's doing something fun, well, type 2 fun, in the sun, basically. I mean, it gives you more motivation, it makes you want to train, and you go to these lovely locations to race. However, there can be too much of a good thing when it comes to sunshine.
Yeah, now when you're training, it's quite easy to cover up what you can't, what you want to, and also put sun cream on quite easily or reapply sun cream. And you can also avoid the hottest parts of the day by starting really early and just avoid that sun time when the sun is at its most vicious. But in a race, especially a long triathlon, you're pretty much going to be out there throughout the middle of the day, maybe even from sunrise to after sunset in an Ironman. So what do you do in a race? It can be tempting to just tough it out and deal with a bad sunburn the next day. But a bad sunburn can really hurt. Trust me, I speak from personal experience, particularly in Kona. And also, a bad sunburn can actually increase your cancer risk, just one single bad sunburn. So it's really not worth it.
Yeah, and if that is not reason enough, there's actually evidence from the American College of Sports Medicine that shows that sunburn can decrease your performance or inhibit your performance through reducing your heat dissipation and your thermoregulation, which, yeah, if you're there for a performance, is a pretty key factor.
Yeah, so let's take a look at GTN's top 5 tips for sun safety.
Well, tip 1, cover what you can. Thank goodness Speedos are no longer needed unless you're doing a retro tri. And thankfully, tri-suits with long sleeves are now actually supposedly faster than ones without sleeves. So you've got no excuse for that element. But do check the actual material that your tri-suit is made of, because there's no point in being really covered, but actually you can still get burnt through it. So try and keep an eye on that as well.
Most of them will have a little tag that says the SPF rating of the actual garment, and you should pay attention to that.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's other things you can wear. Obviously, you're going to be having a helmet on the bike, but if it's got loads of vents and you're thinning on top, bear that in mind. Not a problem I'm going to have, hopefully, but certainly something to be aware of. And then when it comes to the run, we're spotted with so many choices of caps and visors, so you can cover up a lot that way. And also, obviously that's covering your face, but also sunnies are great, not just for the area around your eyes, but your eyes themselves, as apparently you can get an ocular melanoma from the sunshine, which I didn't know. It sounds all quite horrific, but there's ways to avoid it.
Yeah, you should get some good sunglasses. Tip number 2, apply and reapply sun cream. Now, obviously, it's a bit inconvenient reapplying sun cream in a race, but you should apply sun cream quite liberally before you start and give it some time to soak in. Sun cream is 50% gone after 2 hours and 100% gone after 4 hours. So if your triathlon's longer than that, which, let's be honest, a long course triathlon is probably going to be, you're going to need to reapply at some point. Now, most triathlons will actually have sunblock application stations in transition, and you should make use of those, but don't rely on those. If you're not 100% sure those are going to be there, then have some sunblock in your transition bag. It is worth the few seconds it takes you to spray some on you or slather some on you quickly before you go out. It's definitely worthwhile doing that. And don't fall for the it was cloudy when I started, so I didn't put any on trap. Because triathlons are a long day, and yeah, it may be foggy or cloudy when you start. It may look like, oh, it's going to be a long grey day, I won't need sunblock. And before you know it, you're out on the run and it is absolutely baking and you haven't put sunblock on. So always put sunblock on before the race starts. And then if it is particularly sunny, make sure you reapply in transition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that leads us nicely on to tip number 3, wear the right sunscreen. So we are spoiled that there's plenty of choices out there, but opt for a factor relatively as high as possible, 30 plus, I would say 50 plus for me personally. But then find something that is sport applicable, so to speak, so that it's going to be sweat resistant, water resistant as much as possible. And I know lots of people often think that, sun cream is going to make me feel hotter or stop my skin from breathing. And yes, maybe some can, but if you find the right one, there's actually evidence from the ACSM that says sunscreen may also improve microvascular blood flow to the skin, which is normally impeded with UV exposure.
Yeah, so it can actually make you cooler putting sunblock on. Talking about choosing the right sun cream, my first Ironman, I went into T2 and I said, yes, sunblock when they asked me, and they sprayed sunblock onto my neck, and it was an alcohol-based sunblock, and I had bad chafing from that swim.
Ooh,
it was the most painful part of my day, believe it or not, and it was a long Ironman day that I cramped later on. So yeah, choose your sunblock carefully. Okay, tip number 4, and that is spot block the spots. If you have any spots or moles or anything like that are particularly sensitive to the sun, maybe areas of low pigmentation or something like that, make sure you block those. And you can block those not just with sun creams and sun blocks. You can actually use material to do that. So use a material plaster or even a bandage to cover that up before you go out in the sun, because let's be honest, nothing you put on or rub on is going to be there the whole day. So maybe it's worthwhile sticking some KT tape or something that has an SPF over it to make sure that it's covered if it is a sensitive spot.
Yeah, and that leads us on again into tip number 5. Get skin checks. So for those areas that might be changing or look slightly abnormal, get them checked out sooner rather than later. And actually, according to the ACSM, 28% increased risk of melanoma was related to people who do outdoor sports activities, which probably isn't that much of a surprise. So yeah, stay on top of all of those changes on your skin.
Yep, we could go on and on and on with this topic, and we obviously brought it up because we've been out doing some long epic adventures lately, and sunburn has been a factor, so we thought it was relevant to all of you. Have you had your skin checked recently? Let us know in the comment section down below. We haven't, I haven't actually, so I actually need to get on top of that and get it done, and yeah, maybe we're going to do a deeper dive and a full video on this in the not too distant future, just so that you guys can see exactly what it all entails and what the risk factors are, etc. Because it's definitely something as a triathlete that you should be paying attention to. Okay, now it's time for What the Tech. We don't actually have any new tech today. We saw this a long time ago. Christian Blumenfeld posted this post. about him testing out the body rocket technology, which is basically a live coefficient of drag technology where it tells you exactly what your body position drag is at any moment while you're out in the real world. We did feature this while we were out in Kona, the body rocket technology, and it was actually on Christian Blumenfeld's bike at the time, but it was still being refined at the time. They wouldn't actually even show us the pedals for the system back then because they were, as they put it, too embarrassed to show them to us. But apparently it's refined enough now for Christian Blumenfeld to actually go out and be testing it. And very interesting to see that you can refine your body position out on the bike as if you were in a wind tunnel while you're not actually in a wind tunnel, so in the real world. So it is quite interesting tech, but not very easy to install on your bike because basically you've got to separate the saddle and the aero bars and the pedals so that it separates from the bike and you can see your actual body's drag. Anyway, it's pretty technical. You can click on the link. We'll leave the link down below to our actual review of it from the tech tour that we did in Kona last year. It is interesting to point out that Christian Blumenfeld is not actually sponsored by them so much as a part owner in Body Rocket. So he is a co-founder of the Santara Tech group, which Body Rocket falls under, and they're all working together to improve technology in triathlon. In fact, he finds it more important than the fact that he's an Olympic gold medalist or an Ironman world champion, because if you go onto his Instagram profile, it says Christian Blumenfeld, sportsperson, co-founder Santara Technology. And it says nothing about Olympic gold medalist, Ironman world champion.
Maybe because we're all supposed to just know that.
Oh, we already know those things.
We do, don't we? Now we all know that as well.
Co-founder of Centauri.
Anyway, that is all the tech news that we have today, most probably because lots of companies are holding their news for this week. It is Eurobike. Mark is already out there, so he's going to be getting very excited for what the tech next week. But actually, more importantly, he's going to be getting featured and finding out new tech releases, and they're going to be coming out in videos tomorrow and on Friday. So keep an eye on the channel. And now it is time for the busy section of the show, race results. And we've got plenty to share with you this week, starting off with Challenge Gdansk in Poland. And the women's race was won by Annie Reichman. Second place, a home favourite, Agnieszka Jerzyk from Poland. And then we had Daniela Kleiser in third on the women's podium.
On the men's side was a Polish champion with Kasper Stepniak taking the win, Ognian Stojanovic in second, and Marcel Bolbat in third. The reason we're trying really hard to pronounce this is we've actually got a new creator who's got Polish heritage, and he's been trying to teach us how to pronounce all of these Eastern European names. We're trying our best.
I think we can just dub.
Yeah, maybe we should just get him to record them and just dub them over.
Then we can just mouth it badly,
anyway, moving on, Ironman Austria, and the women's winner there was Lottie Wilms. Second was Gabrielle Maria Obman, and Laura Zimmerman in third.
Yeah, on the men's side, we obviously talked about Camworth, but the winner was Matthias Pettersson. Second place was Camworth, getting that qualification slot for the World Champs. And then in third, we had George Enzenberger.
Yep. And then all the way down south, we had the Asia Pacific Ironman Championships, the Ironman Cairns, with Kylie Simpson taking the win there, ahead of Radka Karlefeld in second and Penny Slater in third.
Now, the men's race was won by Braden Curie with a very impressive performance, and I think that was a new course record, actually.
Men's and women's course record.
So Stephen McKenna was second, and Tim Van Berkel third, and then Pete Jacobs was fourth.
Yeah, interesting. 2012 Ironman World Champion Pete Jacobs there, making somewhat of a comeback at the tender age of 41, and getting fourth there, which was very impressive. Meanwhile, the winners winning by more than 10 minutes, each of them, in double digits. So, Ironman 73 Luxembourg, that was a men's only race, and Mickey Teichholt took the win ahead of Christoph de Keyser, with Philip Azevedo taking third.
And there was also a World Cup in Huatulco, Mexico, and the men's race was won by David Castro Fallada of Spain, and the women's race won by Anahi Alvarez Corral. And they might not be names you're familiar with, but there is a reason we're covering this race.
Yeah, we don't normally talk about World Cups, so there's just so much racing going on, but it is quite interesting because there is a big chase for points for Paris 2024 and qualification, and some people trying to get those points to get into the big races, to get more points, Gwen Jorgensen and Katie Zafiris, and they both travelled to Mexico to do this race, to do exactly that. And Gwen Jorgensen actually did really well on that front because she came second behind Anaya Corral, and she got some decent points. Katie Zaferis did not have such a good day. I think she finished 13th, so she did not get as many points as she hoped for, but they're both in a bit of a race, both against each other, but also against all the other American contenders to get those points and qualify potentially for the American team. The following day, they did actually do quite well for the American team, and it bodes well for the other gold medal that is on hand up for grabs at Paris 2024, which is the mixed team relay gold medal, because the Team USA with Katie Zaferis and Gwen Jorgensen, as well as Dare Smith and Brent Demarest, did take gold the following day in Hotelco in the mixed relay, ahead of Team Mexico, who got silver, and Team Canada, who got bronze. So yeah, the racing heating up on the World Triathlon side of things as everyone tries to qualify for next year's big event in Paris.
And if you watched last week's show, you will have obviously heard us go in depth about our predictions and athletes that are going to be racing at Challenge Roth. It is an absolutely stacked field. I'm not going to go into detail now. If you missed it last week, I would suggest going back to watch it. However, if you are going to be there, keep an eye out, because the whole team, Mark, James and myself, are going to be out there. We are even competing, in a sense. Well, we're doing a section of it each.
It's been a while since I was out there in Roth, and not competing it the same way I was previously, but we're doing a relay and we're making a video about it. Yeah, the glory leg, is that what they call it? Because I'm pretty nervous. I think I'll swap with you and do the glory swim rather.
Well, we left Mark with a big chunk.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we'll be out there, and if you do see GTN around the expo or around the race, come and say hello. We'd love to see you and say hi to all of our fans and the people who watch us. Also coming up this weekend is, as we mentioned, Ironman France, which is a men's pro event, and it is a bit of a test event for the Ironman World Championships happening in September. So we're watching eagerly to see how that unfolds and who actually steps to the fore and how the whole race unfolds, because it's obviously got a bit more weight to it now with the World Championships happening on pretty much exactly the same course in just a few months. Now it's time to take a look at our pin board and some of the things that you guys have sent us. Remember, this month we're asking for your transition snaps. So when you're at your race or whatever race you do, take some photos of your transition setup or what you saw in transition or anything transition related, so we can feature it next week on the show. You got one more week left to do that, and then we'll shift it to a new focus. No prizes for guessing what that is. First we have this one, Artis, and his bike is a Diamond from Austin, Texas. He says the dream team of Julian and Artis. Both qualified at Texas Ironman for the 2023 Ironman World Championships in Nice, France. See y'all in France.
Oh, awesome. We will.
Yeah, we'll see you there, and you can tell us when we're there what the plunger is all about in those photos, because I'm not sure why they're holding plungers and waving them at us for that. But congratulations on qualifying, and we'll see you in Nice.
Yeah, bizarre. Right, this next one is slightly different but random, from Louisa. She's actually given us her bike brand, Scott Addict. However, there is no bike involved in this. She says, I'm an elite triathlete representing Singapore. Last month I was in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, where I raced the African Triathlon Cup. And on Friday, then the African Aquathon Championships on Sunday. She finished 15th and then second in the Aquathon. But the format was 2.5k run, 1k swim, 2.5k run, which was brutal. But at least setting up transition was pretty quick.
Yeah. Just cap and goggles.
Yeah, simples.
Very simple transition there, about as simple as a transition gets. And yeah, I completely sympathise with the swim-run format. It's so hard. We did one the other day, my first one ever. Then we have this one from Jean Gabriel, and he's got his Canyon Speedmax AL 8.0, which is, I haven't seen one of those for a while. He's from Bruckkurbel in Germany, near Frankfurt. He said, my 6th start at this lovely triathlon. Sunny, temperature 31 degrees Celsius, no shadow on the run. I assume it means no shade on the run. He probably had a shadow. Bike leg with some pinching climbs, 4 loops, swim in Olympic pool. Very nice atmosphere, and that's his transition pictures of his bike, and very purple towel, so you can't miss it. That is a pretty cool setup.
Yeah, it is nice. This final one, sent in by Richard, and it's a Dahan folding bike. And this is actually an older picture. It sounds like England 2019, so he's obviously dug this one out. But he says, one of the things I love about Tri is the inclusivity. As I racked for one of my first ever races, seeing 10,000 superbikes at £10,000 superbikes and wheel sets that cost more than my nth and TT bike, I saw this gem, a folding bike modified to the max. So this isn't his, this is is one he spotted next door. It drop handlebars, clip-on aero bars, and even a gel taped to the top tube, because that, as you know, makes you so fast. I'm pretty sure it belonged to a racer in the 70-plus age group. I mean, that is amazing. If you happen to be the owner or the rider of that bike, we would love to hear from you, because I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, you know you're in England when you see a fold-up bike in transition.
Yeah, that was really great. Well, as James said at the beginning, if you do have any photos, you have 1 week left to send them in if it's something to do with transition. Okay, James, your favourite section now. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Say what?
Now, actually, this leads me on to a question, James. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I am definitely a morning person as far as training goes. I've always traditionally got up really early. Part of it was actually because I was in South Africa.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that why?
It was avoiding the heat of the day. The best time of day was before about 10 o'clock. Once you got to 11 o'clock in South African summer training, you just didn't want to be out there when it was 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason. But also I just really, even since I was a really young kid, I got up really early and went running before school. And that was just how I've always done things.
How's that translated to the UK winter?
Well, it's both the UK winter and also having 3 kids and therefore much more broken sleep. It's just that much harder to get up early in the morning. Also, the problem we have at the moment is that if one of us gets up really early in the morning to go training and a kid happens to be roused by you getting ready to go, the other one has to get out of bed. So then the whole family ends up getting up really early in the morning. So it's better to just can the whole early morning thing entirely.
Okay, right. Well, that was a deeper dive than yes. So your early morning has more consequences. I did ask for sure, and we asked you guys in our video of morning versus evening training, and it seems like it stirred up a lot of emotions, actually, surprisingly, and a lot of people coming in with their responses of when they train and why. And there's a couple of comments that we want to share here. One from Peach X Blue and says, "I'm so glad you mentioned morning workouts as being anxiety-producing and diminishing sleep quality." That was coming from me, actually. Says, "I've been trying all year to make it to a morning swim, but keeping so nervous I'll miss my alarm or flop during the workout or the train won't come that I stay up nearly all night and, of course, sleep through my alarm. This is like my deepest secret of the year and the thing I'm most ashamed of on some level. I really want to make a proper morning swim session, not just a midday swim, but maybe having this understanding about why it's so difficult will help me get there."
Oh, maybe you just need to accept who you are and not go in the morning and just...
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Morning is not for everybody. Not everybody are morning people. And I'm sure you get a lot of people agreeing with that. Pozdrowski 67
Another Polish name.
Maybe, yeah. Says, "I had always been an owl, and then last November I started running. I was doing about 8 a.m. just before work. Then, at the beginning of March, I started switching to an early bird and starting my day at 5 a.m. and running just after I wake up. If you had told me a few months ago that I would start running, which I always hated, and then I will become an early bird, which I hated even more, I would have laughed at you. And yet, it happened. Life is strange." Well, yeah.
I
Congratulations.
love that.
I like that too, yeah. I've always been a morning person and seen the benefits of it. I love getting up early. It just starts your day so well. You feel so accomplished before anyone else has even got out of bed. You should probably get back to doing that at some point.
I love the feeling. I just hate the getting up. Yeah. I still have that battle with my snooze.
My mom used to walk down the passage and go, "James, we're going running." And I would go, "Okay," and I'd get up and go. And occasionally I would still be in bed an hour later, and I'd be like, "You didn't wake me up." And she'd say, "Yeah, I did. You just rolled over and went back to sleep." And I don't no memory of it whatsoever. But
my worst morning experience, and this relates a bit to the anxiety thing, was I actually overslept my alarm for swimming. I was a swimmer, so I got up at 5 every morning for 5 years or whatever. And there was one morning that I'd overslept, turned my alarm off. But in my dream, I had actually got to swimming and I was in the pool. And then I woke up and realised I was still in bed. I was so devastated that I'd missed training. I was really upset about it. But I'd also felt like I'd gone through the trauma of getting there and still didn't get the best. Anyway, obviously I was tired.
Some deep trauma there. I think you should probably go and work through that with someone, Heather.
Yeah. There's one other comment I want to share today. It's actually from an Instagram post that I put up with GTN, and it was off the back of a big challenge we did last week. Video coming soon. And I rode an e-bike. I cheated. Well, I wanted to talk about this and be very open, obviously. I'm open in the video, but I wanted to be open before people spotted my Strava and asked about it. So I just talked about what I did, and some lovely comments. A few people questioning, is it fair? And you make sure you put it on Strava. And yes, I put it as an e-bike on Strava. But this one comment caught my eye. It's from DR Ironman, and he said, if you start in the Prezellis, then e-bike just takes some of the pain away and makes riding around there feel less daunting. You can still push as hard as you like. Yeah, I certainly had to push hard. Using an e-bike gave me the confidence to train and complete an Ironman last year.
There you go then. If it's getting people out the door and getting them fitter and getting them to accomplish things, then nothing wrong with an e-bike, and shame on all of you for criticizing people who use an e-bike.
Yeah, I have a newfound respect for sure, but that's a whole conversation that I've already had. But we love reading your comments.
Yeah.
So
and that video is coming, as Heather says. It was our longest day challenge, and it'll be coming out this weekend on the channel. So look out for that, because it was a very long day for some people more than others. And there was some meltdowns, and some people didn't have batteries on their bikes. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Cancelling me.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch out for that video coming up. If you're looking for something to watch right now, Mark put out a really interesting video.
For us, I think.
Never too old to try. It is all about. And it's about the more elderly section of the population and whether triathlon is still for them, and the resounding answer is yes, and it's a pretty interesting video, so head over there if you're looking for something to watch right now. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you again next week, or at Challenge Roth this week if you're going to be there.